Hello and welcome to the HRKyle Podcast, the ultimate resource for HR insights and guidance that will empower both seasoned business professionals and eager job seekers. I'm HRKyle, your host. I'm excited to embark on this journey with you. In each episode, we'll delve into the intricacies of HR management, uncovering strategies that can transform the way you approach talent acquisition, employee engagement, and workplace dynamics. Whether you're a seasoned HR pro navigating the ever-evolving landscape of human resources or a job seeker striving to land your dream position, this podcast is your compass. Our mission is simple: to provide you with actionable knowledge, expert interviews, and inspiring stories that will help you thrive in the world of HR. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to take your HR game to the next level. Welcome to the HRKyle Podcast, where HR meets success. Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the HRKyle Podcast. In segment 1, we're diving into the essential topic of getting your career on track. Whether you're just starting or looking to realign your career path, we've got you covered. Then in segment 2, we'll be joined by a special guest who's navigating the challenges of a mid-career stage. So stay tuned for valuable insights and tips to advance your career journey after this. Are you a business owner looking to build a thriving team? Or perhaps a job seeker on a quest for your dream career? Look no further than HRKyle. HRKyle is your trusted partner for all things human resources. We're not just about services, we're about success. For businesses, HRKyle offers tailored HR solutions from talent acquisition to compliance support. We're here to help your team flourish. And for the job seekers, HRKyle provides personalized career guidance and direction that only a seasoned HR professional can offer. We'll help you find that perfect job match. Don't settle for less. Choose HRKyle and unlock success today. Visit us at www.hrkyle.com. HRKyle, unlocking potential, empowering careers, transforming business. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the HRKyle Podcast. I hope you enjoyed that brief intermission. Now let's jump right into segment 1. This is where we're going to explore the crucial topic of getting your career on track. Now, whether you're a recent graduate, contemplating a career change, or just looking for guidance, we've got expert advice and actionable tips coming your way. So sit back, relax, and let's set your career on the right course. So getting your career on track. So this is for the individual, and I know there's a few of you out there that just feel like you lack purpose in your job or career, or you lack direction, or as one person put it, you just feel like every day you're wandering aimlessly. Well, let's do something about that. So if you've got paper and pen handy, you may want to be ready to take some notes today. I do want to warn you ahead of time, this is a topic we could delve into very deeply and probably spend a couple hours talking about. But guess what? We've only got about 20 minutes, and that's all we're going to take. So today we're going to shrink this topic down. We're probably going to move a little quickly, so be ready. But you know what? If you want to talk about this further, all you need to do is reach out to HRKyle, and we can talk a little bit more. But let's dive in. I always say before you get into any discussion, ask yourself, why are we having this discussion? Here's the whys for this. For those people who have their career, quote, on track, meaning they have a direction, they have a purpose, they know which direction they're heading into, here's what they have. They have greater job satisfaction, greater career satisfaction. Again, keeping in mind, those are different, right? Your job is the thing that you do. The career is the thing that you're involved in. They're better able to manage inevitable ups and downs. We know every job, every career, no matter how wonderful it is, they have those ups and downs from time to time. They're also more effective at leveraging the opportunities that come their way. So opportunities are going to present themselves to you at different points. You can never plan for those, but you know what? If you've got your career on track, you can better take advantage of them when they come knocking. Also, those who have their career on track, they tend to have a healthier work-life balance. And you're going to find out more about that. And then finally, having your career on track allows you to better advocate for yourself. Well, no kidding, right? You know where you're going. You can advocate for what's important to you, for those that you need to advocate with. So let's talk about the ways of getting your career on track. Number one, I talk with a lot of professionals about this, and people at various stages struggle with this. But we must, as professionals, establish boundaries. So you've got to ask yourself these questions. How do you want to be treated by your coworkers and by your boss? Meaning, how do you want to be spoken to? How do you want to be approached? What does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Ask yourself this too. What's the primary reason I'm here, meaning at the workplace? And what's the secondary reason? And you're going to have yours. I'm going to have mine. They're probably going to be different, but know what they are, because that's your guide to establish your boundaries. And you also have to ask yourself, what is important to you in your work relationships? I always tell the story that I worked with one gentleman, and this has happened a couple of times, but one gentleman who all he wanted to do was clock in, do his job, take his breaks, have lunch, work the afternoon, and clock out and go home. He didn't have any other expectations from his work beyond that and a paycheck. And guess what? He was extremely happy. He knew that's what he wanted, and that's how he lived his work life. But think about what's important to you in your work relationships. Here are some other issues to consider also. Sharing of personal information. So I'm talking about sharing your salary, your address, family information, health information, and so on. Decide in advance what you want to share and what you don't want to share. And keep in mind, you have a right to share as much or as little about yourself in your workplace as you so choose. Please take that seriously. Worked with a lady once. Every time we'd have a new employee, she took it upon herself to talk with that person. She would basically share her entire life story over a day or two of first meeting with them. A day or so later, she would be the same one that would be saying, oh my gosh, I think I shared too much. Exactly. So you need to go into your work situations deciding again how much or how little you want to share about your personal life. The other thing you need to consider is dating and friendships. Are you open to dating your coworkers, and do you understand everything that means? Again, that's a personal preference thing, but again, it's opening yourself up to having your coworkers know a lot of your personal business. The same holds true for friendships, not quite to that level, but pretty close. And I always say this, determine if you're comfortable having those friendships or that dating relationship end and continuing to work there. That will tell you whether you should be pursuing dating and friendships at work. Here's the other thing with boundaries. You've got to tactfully and professionally speak up and let people know what is acceptable and what isn't. If someone is pushing a line or crossing a line with you, it is up to you to let them know. And you're able to do that in a professional, respectful way. If they choose not to receive that message in a professional, respectful way, that's not your fault. That's theirs. And finally, with boundaries, respect others' boundaries. Don't ask for something that you're not willing to give as well. And I'll tell you what, for all you professionals out there, so many of you I've spoken with that you struggle with boundaries. That's why I lead off with that topic. Focus on that topic. Focus on that decision. Think about the things I've given you to think about and make a decision as to what your boundaries are going to be. That's getting your career on track. Number two, for getting and keeping your career on track, build healthy work habits. Saw a quote one time, and it's stuck with me ever since. And it says this, habits determine your success more than occasional behaviors. Now let that sink in for a moment. Habits determine your success more than occasional behaviors. And is that not true? Your habits are going to determine your success, not the things that you do every so often. So let's talk about what those work habits would look like. Arrive early or at a minimum on time for work, for meetings, for gatherings, whatever it is that's work related. Be early or worse, be on time for those. Be known for that. Come to meetings prepared. Know what the meeting's about, know who's going to be there, and know what's expected of you. And if that's not provided to you, you know what you do? You ask the meeting organizer. Find out from them so you can come prepared. Here's another big one that gets overlooked, but it gets you a lot of mileage in the workplace. Show gratitude. When someone does something for you, no matter how big or small, let them know that you appreciate it. You appreciate the effort they put into it. That goes a long way to building goodwill with your coworkers and keeping your career on track. And think about this. Who are you more willing to help in the future? Someone that was gracious and appreciated the help that you gave them, or someone that didn't bother to say anything? Exactly. Here's another one. Be humble. No matter how much success that you're enjoying and that you're feeling and you're growing as a professional and you're moving up the ladder, show humility. People respond positively to that. Again, put yourself in that position. Who do you respond more positively to? The person who's successful but doesn't gloat on it, or the person that has any level of success and they have to make sure everyone knows it? Be the person you want others to be. Accept feedback, not only positive but negative. I don't like those terms. Most people know feedback is positive or negative. For me, they're affirming or they're corrective. But again, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, accept it. Take it in. That's someone willing to give you some advice to make you better. Use that information. Here's another one. Take your breaks. Take breaks. There's plenty of research that goes to show that breaks make you more productive. They make you a better worker. They make you a safer worker. There's a lot of data behind that. I'm not going to bore you with it. I'm telling you here, take your breaks. Leave at a reasonable time. You become less and less productive the more time you spend at work beyond about 9 or 10 hours. You also become more of a risk to the company in a lot of different ways, not the least of which is a safety factor. I know there are going to be exceptions where you have to work late, but make sure those are exceptions and not the rule. Deliver on your promises. Gosh, this is a big one. If you tell someone you're going to do something, do it. And if for whatever reason you're going to be late doing it or there's an issue with it, you know what you need to do? Let them know. But be known as someone who keeps your promises. And here's the final one. Have a positive can-do attitude. Ask yourself this. Who would you rather work with? The person that every time you go to them, they grumble, they're in a bad mood, you can't ask them for anything, it's always a chore. Or the person that no matter when you see them or what's going on, they have a smile on their face, they're approachable, they're happy to help you, they're there to be a part of the team. Exactly. I'll give you a second to answer that question, but I think we know what the answer is. Third point to keeping your career on track, communication. Here's my first bullet point. Do it. Everybody says, duh, of course. But you know what? You know how many companies that I've been in, work groups, functions, what have you, where communication was poor at best. So you get your career on track. You get it on track by being a good communicator. Share with people what they need to know. As I shared in the last session about it being an effective communicator, I said, answer these questions. Who, what, where, and when as it relates to communication. And like we always say, know your whys, and there's whys behind all of those. Exhibit professionalism in your emails, in-person communications, on the phone, text messages, presentations, meeting, all of those forums. When you are interacting in any way, shape, or form with your colleagues, exhibit a high level of professionalism. You want to be known for that. That keeps your career on track. You don't want to be known as the goofball. That's not going to get your career ahead. Here's another one that I think we've gotten a little lax on as a society, especially with social media and some of the other tools around that. Focus on your spelling and grammar. Make sure those are on target. Your words represent you, whether you know it or not. If I'm getting a message from someone and there's grammar issues and there's spelling issues, my opinion of them as a professional tends to diminish. Don't let that happen. Here's another one. Talked about this prior. I'm going to hit on it again about gratitude. But in communication, provide updates. Remember what I said before. You make a promise to someone, let them know, but also just let them know your progress on whatever it is, especially if it's something that's going to take some time. Let them know every few days how you're going on that. And here's where the gratitude comes in. Provide acknowledgments. Give other people credit for helping you out. People love to hear their names mentioned related to things that they've helped with, especially when it's with other people. That sends a positive message because let's face it, life itself is a team game. Give credit where it's deserved. Here's the other thing. Avoid surprises. Nobody likes surprises, with a few exceptions. Hey, you've won the lottery. Hey, happy birthday. Here's a wonderful gift. Beyond those couple of examples, most people hate surprises. So please avoid those in your interactions. Make sure your deliverables on time, your expectations are met, you're scheduling your meetings, and you're starting them on time. People like that. They don't like surprises as it relates to those. And remember last week when I talked about effective communication, I said focus on THINK, the acronym THINK. And guess what? If you want to know what THINK stands for, you're going to have to listen to the last episode. I'm not going to tell you what it stands for here, but it's something that's very important relative to communication. Point 4, relative to getting and keeping your career on track. Keep learning and developing. Do not get stagnant. I look back over my career of the 35-ish years that I've been working. It's amazing what's changed in the workplace since then. So we've got to keep learning and developing to keep our careers on track. What's that mean? It means get out of your comfort zone. Do that. It's the only way you grow and develop and you get better and you expand your horizons. You're going to have to be a little uncomfortable. Volunteer for stretch assignments. What's that mean? It's assignments of things that you've never done before, or it's a little bit different than something you've done before. It's a learning opportunity. It's a growth opportunity. It's going to stretch your skill set. Here's another one related to that. Embrace your vulnerability. Be honest with yourself, okay? You're not great at everything, and that's okay. Identify what you're really good at, things that you're so-so at, and things that you're not good at. And then you know where to focus your attention. Ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. As a boss, as a leader, I would prefer that people ask me questions than do something under an assumption of what I might have meant. Tends to be much more effective. You build your credibility. You're willing to ask questions because it's due to the fact that you want to be your best. I'm always going to respect that. Here's the other thing. Seek advice. Again, remember how I said we're not always good at everything? And I said seek out stretch assignments and learn to grow and develop. Well, in those circumstances, you've got people around you that may well have been exposed to those or have experience to those situations that are new to you. Seek out advice. People will respect that in you. Also, don't sit back and rely on your company to come through for you. Yes, we as a company, we're going to provide you training, but we're also going to expect that you're going to seek out training, especially in this day and age. We're in the internet age. There's a lot of resources that are available online, many of them for free. So do your research, find out what's out there that you should know or be better at, and seek it out yourself. Here's the other one. When it comes to learning, learn to rebound. Yes, you are going to have down times in your career, potentially losing a job, getting demoted, company closes, cutbacks, whatever it may be. There's going to be times, big and small, in your career when you're going to have to rebound because you've had a down moment. Learn how to do that gracefully. Learn also how to put those behind you. One of the biggest failures I see in professionals is they have a down moment in their career, and we all have them, just a heads up, but they dwell on it, and they dwell on it, and they dwell on it, and they can't leave it in the past. That keeps them from getting back on track. It does every single time. I've not seen one person that didn't dwell on a bad situation and have it hold them back from getting ahead. Because guess what? In your next job, we don't want to hear about that. We're not interested. We're interested in what you can do now and in the future, not what happened to you a year ago. Next point, getting your career on track and keeping it there. Track your accomplishments. So keep track of those things that you're doing, those trainings that you've taken, the learning that you've received, the development, the projects you've completed. Keep track of all those, the recognition, employee of the month or whatever your organization calls it. Keep track of those. And if you're given documentation around it, keep that too, because it's easy to forget these things. But keep track. There's a couple of reasons why. One, you should always keep a record of the things that you've done and the things that you've accomplished. One. Two, that helps you in those rebound situations. You can look back and say, you know what, I've had this down moment here, but gosh, look at all the wonderful things that I've done, and look at all the wonderful things that I'm fully capable of. So tracking those accomplishments really helps you to achieve that. So how do you do that? You do it through documentation. I mentioned that, but also always be prepared to tell the story behind the accomplishment, especially if you're preparing for your performance review or maybe another job interview. Be able to tell the story behind what it is you learned, or the training you received, or the development that you've gone through, or that project, the big project that you completed, or the recognition. Remember, when you're telling a story, use the STAR approach. And guess what I'm not going to do today? I'm not going to tell you what STAR stands for. We mentioned it in a prior episode, that STAR acronym. You got to listen to those other episodes to find out what I'm talking about there. Here's the next point. I know we're running a little long on this segment, but stick with me on this. It's worth it. Build your network. Why? For one, it contributes to your social well-being. Humans are social beings. We like being connected to others. Having a network of people that you know and you respect and they respect you, that builds that social well-being. It leads to an exchange of ideas. Remember I mentioned earlier, hey, I've got these people around me that have done these things that I want to do, or they have this expertise that I would like to have. You can reach out to them. Okay. It helps you meet people at all professional levels and functions. I talk to so many professionals who say, okay, I'm this level now, but in 5 years I want to be this, in 10 years I want to be this. Well, build those connections now, because those people that are at those levels that you want to be, they can teach you an awful, awful lot. But you got to have those connections in place. It's going to boost your professional confidence, again, having these networks of people around you, because being connected says, wow, okay, I'm just as important as the next person. And then these are also people, your network, that can support you throughout your career. As you have questions, as you have those down moments, as things happen with you and in your professional life, those other people, those network connections can be your support. But here's a couple of key things. One, excuse me, keep in touch. Okay, keep in touch with those people. Don't just reach out to them when you have a question or a favor to ask. And then also find out how you can help them, because networking is a two-way relationship. So what can you do for them? Okay, and finally, the last point about getting your career on track. Identify a mentor. Okay, here's the purpose of a mentor. They're going to help you navigate workplace nuances, help you problem solve, manage challenge relationships, increase your productivity. They're going to help you with that networking topic that I just mentioned, right? And they're also someone that you can observe and model your own behavior after. Okay, that's what a mentor does for you. But I always say use this with a little bit of caution. Does the mentor match with your purpose, right? That's your first question. So are they in line with what you are looking to accomplish, or how you're looking to grow and develop? Are your values consistent? Is this a person that approaches their work and relationships the same manner that you do or you would like to? And then finally, ask yourself this: are they doing this mentoring for you, or is it for yourself? And a quick example here of what I'm talking about. I knew of a lady who participated in a mentoring program that I had started at a prior employer. Whenever I asked her how it was going, all she could talk about was all the things that she did and she was doing and so on. She never once gave me an update about how her mentee was doing. That immediately told me she wasn't doing it to help the other person. She was doing it to boost her own ego. Remember this too. Having a mentor is your choice. One, whether you want the mentor or not. But secondly, the person that is your mentor. Mentors don't choose you as much as you choose them. And remember that guidance I gave you a few moments ago. Make sure they match your purpose. Make sure your values are consistent and that they're doing it for you. That's how you know a couple of ways that a mentor is a good choice for you. So let's wrap up this segment and just go over real quickly what we talked about today. So this is getting your career on track and keeping it on track. 1, establish boundaries. 2, build healthy work habits. 3, work on that communication. 4, keep learning and developing. 5, track your accomplishments. 6, build your network. And finally, we said the final thing, identify a mentor. So those are the ways that you get and keep your career on track. And that wraps up segment 1 of the HRKyle podcast. This is where we discussed how to get your career on the right track. I hope you found these insights invaluable. But don't go anywhere because we have an exciting guest coming up in segment 2, sharing their experiences and wisdom as they navigate the mid-career stage. So stay with us through this short break, and we'll be back in just a moment with more career insights and stories you won't want to miss.
Are you a business owner looking to build a thriving team? Or perhaps a job seeker on a quest for your dream career? Look no further than HRKyle. HRKyle is your trusted partner for all things human resources. We're not just about services, we're about success. For businesses, HRKyle offers tailored HR solutions from talent acquisition to compliance support. We're here to help your team flourish. And for the job seekers, HRKyle provides personalized career guidance and direction that only a seasoned HR professional can offer. We'll help you find that perfect job match. Don't settle for less. Choose HRKyle and unlock success today. Visit us at www.hrkyle.com. HRKyle, unlocking potential, empowering careers, transforming business.
Welcome back, dear listeners, to the HRKyle podcast. We hope you enjoyed that short break. Now, in segment 2, and I always say this is my favorite part of every episode, and this one's no different, we've got a very special guest joining us today. Michelle is a seasoned professional who has successfully navigated that mid-career stage and has a wealth of experiences and insights to share with us tonight. She's here to shed light on the challenges and opportunities faced by those who are mid-career. So without further ado, let's welcome Michelle to our show. Michelle, it's fantastic to have you with us today on the HRKyle podcast. We'd like to have you start by just telling our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Kyle. Thanks for having me. My name's Michelle. I am 45 years old. I am a single mom of 3, 2 grown, 1 in high school. I have a 3-year-old little grandson. I'm currently working in the accounting department as an AR/AP specialist. I've been at my current job for about 11 years now, and I've worked in several different areas of the company before settling down in accounting about 6 or so years ago.
Wonderful. Michelle, that's a wonderful intro, letting us know a little bit about who you are and where you are professionally. And I want to point out this to you, and the guests will be aware of this as well. You're our first guest who's what I would call mid-career. So I introduce you to that. So you're the first one. Every guest we've had up to this point has either been early in their career or later in their career to the point of maybe even making a career change late. So you're our first one that kind of falls in that middle. So I'm excited to hear your insights tonight. So tell me this. How would you say your attitude about work and your career has changed since you first started in the work world?
Well, my first work experience when I was 16 was McDonald's. I'm kind of realizing now, being around all these teenagers, that the current generation, they kind of want to steer clear of the fast food industry. They have this illusion that without experience in anything, they can, quote unquote, do better than being a food worker. I have a different way of thinking on this. I think that the fast-paced, stressful environment taught me a lot. You're multitasking, you're dealing with customer service, you're handling food and money, driving towards the goal of getting customers their product in a timely and efficient manner, oftentimes in high-stress situations, whether it be long lines, unhappy people, their orders not being right, things of that nature. And since hindsight's always 2020, after many more years of work experience, I can see now that the food industry actually helped shape the foundation for my current work ethics. I can not only handle a high stress situation, but I actually thrive in them. You have to be able to think quick on your feet, and no matter what career path you've chosen, quick thinking and efficiency are always valuable assets. For the then versus now thinking, I used to think of that as a job, and now the older that I've gotten, I realize that I begin to strive for more fulfillment, to have a career that has a purpose and has pushed me to be more successful and made me feel like that aspect of my life had more meaning.
Michelle, that's a wonderful, wonderful look inside of your perspective on that. And just to throw a couple of stats out to our listeners, heard a recent stat that 1 in 8 Americans at some point or another worked at McDonald's as a first job. So that's the first thing. And so you're in some pretty elite company there, Michelle, with that stat. But the other thing that I'll share is, as an HR professional, when I see someone who has worked in the restaurant industry or service industry, jobs such as McDonald's, and they've got a little bit of tenure with that, I usually move that person to the top of the pile because of exactly the things that you hit on there. And again, I couldn't have said it any better. Those are absolutely the skills that you learn from those jobs. So for our young professionals out there that maybe they're in high school or they're still working their way through college, don't underestimate the value of those jobs such as a McDonald's because of all the things that Michelle shared there. And again, being someone who knows Michelle and have worked with her for a couple of years now, I can speak to those attributes that she has, that she's mentioned there. She has those in spades. So again, she knows of what she speaks, in other words. So Michelle, thank you for that wonderful perspective. So thinking back again over your career a little bit, what expectations have you had to change or adjust about your career since you started?
Well, I've had changing needs myself. So I've been through a divorce, and even though my kids are a little more on the grown-up side, the changing needs has become a changing ambition. I now strive for bigger, better opportunities and have more of an appetite for a more demanding position, one that allows for variety and how I can use all of my skills, one that could potentially lead to leadership roles along with higher salary and benefit levels. Now that my time is needed a little less at home, it's also desirable to consider a more flexible schedule. This way, if I need to bring work home, I have the ability to handle it. But on the other hand, it also allows me for time off needed to begin to explore vacations and travel ventures where taking a few days off won't be detrimental in the day-to-day operations. There's not always room in a company to advance, and the older we get, the easier it is to settle where we're comfortable. With change often being viewed as scary, it's it's often those things that holds us back from stepping out of our comfort zone. I think this greatly limits our potential. I've been comfortable and afraid of making changes for a very long time, but I now realize that without the potential to grow, I'm stuck where I am. I plan to take the first step in utilizing my full potential by seeking a career change or a title change that will challenge me every day. But I'm looking forward to the opportunity, and I'm giving myself the freedom to overcome the fears, learn all that I can, and be the best that I can be, not only for myself, but also for the future of the company.
Michelle, that's wonderful. And again, listeners, you heard segment 1 today, and you've heard some of the other episodes in this HRKyle podcast, and the things that I mentioned to you, and you could say, well, it's in a theoretical standpoint. You're hearing Michelle speak to those from a reality standpoint. This is a person, Michelle, who knows who she is, right? And we have to go through some time to figure that out. She's there. She knows what's important to her and what her priorities are from a work and a home standpoint. We've talked about those in prior episodes. And she knows where she wants to go with her career next. And again, she's been comfortable to have that evolve. She's been comfortable to be challenged, to make herself a little bit uncomfortable because she knows what lays ahead. And Michelle, those are just some wonderful points that you've given there. And again, they can hear me talk about them, but when they hear someone such as yourself who's living this every day and this is where you are, it means so much more. So thank you for that. You hit on this a little bit, but I'm going to ask this question anyways. What things are a priority for you at this point in your career?
Number one, I'm going to say is definitely being appreciated. I know that I'm an extremely hard worker, and I know that I add value to the company, and I give them my all every time I walk through the door. It's always good to know when your hard work pays off and it's appreciated. I also think that stability is a priority. You don't want to have to constantly wonder if the company that you're working for is in good shape or not. You want to have the confidence in building the future together. And I would say also advancement opportunities is huge. Striving to learn and pushing yourself to gain as much knowledge in your field as you can so that you can eventually get to the point where you're qualified and ready to take on available opportunities that'll help you advance and grow your career. This could be great for you and the company you work for as well as for advancement outside your current company and or position. Ultimately, I think the steps to success include learning the ropes and never stop learning, building relationships, whether it be coworkers, customers, vendors, anyone and everyone. Positivity and communication make you approachable and appreciated. And deliver results. See the tasks in front of you, learn them, and continue to deliver better and better each time.
I love what you're sharing. And again, listeners out there, I hope you get the volume turned up so you can let all this wisdom soak in. Michelle is sharing some very valuable lessons that she's learned over her career and where she's sitting right now. Michelle, I want to wrap it up with this final question from you. And again, I'm just going to put this out here and I'm going to turn the floor over to you. What lessons would you pass along to others who are entering this stage that you're in, kind of this mid-career? They're just on the front end of that. What lessons would you share with them?
Definitely think of yourself as a lifelong learner. We learn something new every day. So learn to embrace the value in feedback and criticism. It's not meant to tear you down. It's meant to build you up. You always have the capacity to learn, and learning means growing. Definitely don't be afraid to venture outside of your comfort zone. That's going to lead you to better opportunities and potential to advance your knowledge, which can only help you to succeed. Be persistent and don't give up on the things that seem difficult. Also, Google is a great tool and it's your friend. I find that you can use it to help you improve on things that you don't understand at first and constantly strive to find the answers that you seek. Even if your talent isn't there just yet, you can always develop it into what it'll eventually be. Not giving up is also huge.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic points. Fantastic points. Well, gang, let's wrap up the second segment here. And just want to say thank you, Michelle, for sharing your valuable insights and experiences in the mid-career stage where you are right now. It's been a very enlightening conversation.
Thanks for having me.
No, absolutely. You've been a wonderful guest. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of the HRKyle Podcast. We hope you found our discussions in both segments beneficial to your career journey. Remember to subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes where we continue to explore the world of HR and career development. As always, we appreciate your support and listenership. Until next time, stay inspired and keep striving for success in your careers. Take care.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the HRKyle Podcast. We hope you found our discussion valuable and filled with insights that you can apply in your professional journey. Whether you're a business leader aiming to foster a thriving workplace or a job seeker looking to carve out your own path, remember that HRKyle is the compass that can guide you towards success. If If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share it with your network. We're committed to being your trusted source for HR wisdom, and we look forward to having you back with us for our next episode. Remember, in the world of HR and professional growth, there's always room for progress. Be sure to visit our website at HRKyle.com. That's HRKyle.com to learn more about how we can help you meet your business and professional goals. So until next time, this is HRKyle signing off. Stay motivated, stay informed, and keep reaching for those career goals. Music provided by bensound.com. That's bensound.com.